Now, denials, that's the word that really sums up today's hearing into the Life Esidimeni tragedy so far. The inquest into whether criminal liability can be pursued for the over 140 patients who perished due to starvation and neglect is being heard in the High Court in Pretoria. The case dates back to 2016 and families are seeking justice. Manqoba Mchunu is following the proceedings for us and joins us now for an update. Manqoba, thanks for making time. The former Deputy Director General of Clinical Services is in the hot seat today, but is there any accountability?
Well, not at this point, Clement. In fact, what we've heard from Dr. Libete is, in fact, more denials from him. In fact, he's denying, first of all, that he was actually involved in the transfer of the patients. You'll know that, of course, he was one of the project team members that foresaw or that oversaw the process of the movement of patients from Life Esidimeni into the unlicensed NGOs. Of course, 144 of them died during that process. And the arbitration hearings, really, we heard from Dr. Libete denying the fact that he was actively involved in this particular process. And again, Clement, this is what we're hearing from him. He's saying that he was simply, acted on that particular project. He was not fully involved in the actual project or the team itself because he had other responsibilities to take care of. He says that he was quite a busy man. In fact, he says that he was an innocent bystander in terms of the transfer program that had taken place back in 2016. He says that the only time that he got actively involved was when the deaths were reported from these NGOs, and he provided, of course, the clinical services in terms of the postmortems that had to be conducted, as well as meeting some of the families of the deceased. But he also admits that he did accompany the former MEC of Health in Gauteng, Qedani Mahlangu, on some of the on-site visits to some of these NGOs, where he says that he found some of them really wanting, finding that they were not really prepared to accommodate some of those mentally ill patients. But take a listen to what he had to say earlier on that particular issue.
You state yourself that it was clear it would not be ready. What made it clear the place would not be ready?
It's the rate at which work was going and the report of the infrastructure into the progress of the work.
I'm failing to hear the witness. I think there's something in the background. I don't know whether it's from the witness side or whether it is from your side.
No, my lady.
Yes.
Doctor, if you can just repeat the answer, sir.
Yes, I didn't get that.
I'm saying in this report it was clear from the rate of work as it was being reported that it's not going to be finished by the time of the deadline.
What was not going to be finished?
The preparation.
Come again?
The physical preparation, infrastructural preparation of Balafon.
The important issue here is criminal liability. Is there any indication whether any of these officials will take some responsibility?
Well, Clement, if the arbitration hearings are anything to go by, we certainly can expect more denials from the officials here. Certainly that's what we've heard from the testimony of Dr. Libete today, who's basically said that he was not part of this particular process. But of course, it is a crucial question in this particular inquest because it is looking exactly at whether somebody should or could be held criminally liable for the deaths of these patients. And the important question that came before the inquest today was whether or not these officials, the former officials from the Gauteng Health Department and the MEC, could foresee the possibility of deaths once these patients were moved to those NGOs. But take a listen to how that argument went on during that inquest.
Is it possible to say those people could foresee that
a number of patients or mental health care users would die at that particular time?
Not necessarily in terms of dying, because like I say, the medical conditions are not absolute. So you can't say for sure that there is that possibility that this person would die or that person would not die. And at this stage, I'm looking at it from a clinical perspective, not a mental health perspective.
Manqoba Mchunu, thank you so much for bringing us those details from the inquiry into Life Esidimeni tragedy.